Letitia here, and I am back again with another video. And on today's video, I'm going to be doing a story time. I'm going to be telling you guys the story about how I acquired my instructor's license and then lost it and got it back again. But before we get started with this video, make sure you do me a favor and hit that subscribe button, tap that notification bell next to it, comment, share, and thumbs up this video. All right, let's get into it. So, as most of you know, I am a licensed cosmetologist, and I'm also a licensed instructor. And I got my instructor's license initially about 8 years ago. And the way that I got my instructor's license, it was really simple. I didn't have to go to school. All I had to do was challenge the state board of cosmetology in the state of North Carolina. And the way you do that is by just taking the exam. So instead of me having to go to school and get hours needed to get an instructor's license, all I had to do was challenge the board. And the reason why I was able to challenge the board is because I had my cosmetology license at the time for more than 5 years. So I challenged the board and I scheduled my exam, paid for the exam, I scheduled my exam, and I had to take 2 parts. I had to take a written part and I also had to take a practical part. So the practical part is where you have to actually demonstrate in front of the state board proctors how you would teach a class. And they give you different subjects. Well, they give you one subject to teach on. And when I did it 8 years ago, the subject that I had to teach was a relaxer retouch. So I took the test, the practical exam, and I passed it, no problem. At that time, I believe the passing score was an 80, and I think I got like an 81 or 82 or something like that. Then, after I took that test and passed it, I went ahead and scheduled my written exam, took that, and I passed it. So before you knew it, I was licensed to teach cosmetology. So once I got my license, I did work at the school I'm currently working at right now, but I didn't stay long. I only stayed there for about a month, and this is when the school first opened. I was there for about a month, and then I left and moved out of state to Georgia. In fact, I have my instructor's license. Well, it's expired right now, but we'll get into that a little bit later on in this video or another day. But anyway, I transferred my instructor's license to Georgia, my cosmetology license to Georgia, and I moved to Georgia. And then after that, I never practiced teaching anymore. I just had the license in North Carolina. But time had gone on, and I let so much time go by that my instructor's license in North Carolina had expired. So when I came back to North Carolina to teach, and I knew I had my license, but when I called up to the state board to see what I had to do to renew it, I thought that all I had to do was just renew it. So I called State Board of Cosmetology to find out what was the fees to renew it and what's the procedure and, things like that. And lo and behold, they told me because my license was expired for more than 5 years, I had to take the exam over again. And y'all, just when I heard that, I was so mad at myself for allowing the license to expire for so much time. I was like, you know what? Once I get this license back, that's never happening again. Anyway, Right away, I paid the fees to take my practical exam in North Carolina to get my license back. I took the test. I went and I took the test, the practical exam first, and guess what? I failed it. Y'all, I was so livid and angry with myself for even allowing the license to expire. I was like, Tisha, what were you thinking? Why didn't you just keep your license updated? And I believe that the reason why I didn't keep it updated is because I didn't think I was going to be back in North Carolina teaching cosmetology. So I just kind of, took it for granted and just never renewed it. Anyway, I failed the test the first time I went. The second time I went after it was expired. But the crazy part about it is that the very first time that I ever took the test, I passed it. And it was with no schooling or with no coaching or no training or anything like that. So I think that's why I was sure I would go back this second time around after it expired and pass it with flying colors, but it didn't happen that way for me. So I failed it, and I had to prepare now for the written part. I could have rescheduled the practical exam right away, but I decided, you know what, I'm going to just schedule for my written part because I didn't have the mental energy to even prepare for the practical exam again after that. I was like, you know what, let me take this written first, and then after I pass the written, I'll go ahead and schedule my practical exam. So I scheduled the written, took the written, got my results the same day, passed it with flying colors. Woo-hoo. Now, the other thing is this. 8 years ago, from what I could recall, anyway, and I said this earlier in the video, 8 years ago, the passing grade for the instructor's license was at 80. Now it's 85. So I took the written exam and I passed that. You have to get an 85 on both parts, the written and the practical. So the score, what did I get? I think I got a 87 or 88 on my written exam. So, and those results, you get those the same day. So the same day that I went to the office to take the test, I was good to go. After I took the test, they gave me my results immediately and I passed it. So I was like, good, I'm halfway there. So now it's time for me to go ahead and reschedule for the practical exam. And also, I meant to tell you guys, the second time I took the test after I let my license expire, I had to do a lecture on, what was it? Razor cutting. I had to do razor cutting. So now I rescheduled for the exam again. And what happens is once you schedule your exam, they pick the topic that you're going to teach. So they chose for me to teach this time permanent waving. When I saw that I had to do permanent waving, I was looking like, what? First of all, I haven't done a permanent wave since I left hair school. I was like, oh my God. And then the other thing about it is, for the most part, I teach the natural hair care program. So a lot of the information on certain subjects, I haven't refreshed myself on. So I was sitting there like, oh my God, what am I going to do? How am I going to teach this in the lecture for this exam? And, it was just like, I was freaking out. So right away, I said, you know what? You're going to have to get into that chapter of the cosmetology book and reread it. And you're going to have to go on YouTube and look up, how to do a permanent wave all over again. Like, I had to literally relearn how to do a permanent wave. Because like I said, I haven't done a permanent wave since I was in hair school. Probably thinking, what is a permanent wave, Tish? Well, a permanent wave is a chemical that's performed to make your hair curly. And most people that get that type of services, like Caucasian, Spanish, or even Mexicans, Asians, anybody that has like straight hair and you want your hair to be like curly or like a little wave or some type of S formation or something like that, you would get a permanent wave. And those are actually what's called a perm. Now, us as African Americans, or us, women who have, or people in general who have naturally curly hair, we get what you call a relaxant. What that's doing is making your curly hair straight. So it's almost, the permanent wave is almost like a Jerry curl process. Anyway, y'all, I I think I had about 2 weeks to prepare for this exam. And so I made sure that I had everything that I needed to take the exam in order, which is like my lesson plans. You have to have two different types of lesson plans, right? You got to have the lecture lesson plan and the demonstration lesson plan. So the second time that I took the test after I let my license expire, I only went with one type of lesson plan, and that was the theory lesson plan, the lecture lesson plan. So I know that that's probably, that more than likely that's a part of the reason why I failed. And then the other thing is, when I took the test 8 years ago, the lesson plan that they asked for wasn't as extensive as the lesson plan that they want now. So, over time things change. I just didn't keep up with the change, obviously. So now let's fast forward, but let's get back to what I was saying. I made sure that I prepared for the exam by making sure that my lesson plans was together. I read the chapter on permanent waving. I watched videos on permanent waving. One of the other instructors at the school helped me with the permanent waving. She even helped me prepare for the exam by testing me like a day or two, like 2 days before I had to take the exam. We actually did like a mock state board drill so that I could make sure that I'm ready for the exam. And my son's girlfriend, we did the same thing as well. Like, she ran through the whole state board with me. She gave me a drill. So like, when I tell y'all I was not playing around, I told myself, because I had to drive from Charlotte to Raleigh, North Carolina, which is 3 hours away, to take this exam. And that's another reason why I didn't want to schedule the exam again right away, because I was like, I just don't have the daggone energy to drive back to Raleigh, and I didn't have the mental energy to prepare for the damn test. Like, it was just so much. Anyway, so I got prepared for the exam, and the day of the exam, the day before the exam, I don't know why I thought this, but for some reason I was thinking Raleigh was only 2 hours away for some reason, which when I knew it was 3 hours, because I had just driven to Raleigh a couple of months prior to taking the exam again, right? But for some strange reason, I just had it in my memory that it was going to be a 2-hour drive. So, the night before the exam, I was feeling good because I knew I was prepared. I had all the items that I needed to take the test and everything. And I was feeling good. I was feeling confident. I was going to go in there and pass and everything. I was just like, yes, I got this. Like, there was not a doubt in my mind. Went to bed early and everything because I had to get up like, I think I had to get up like 5 o'clock in the morning, because I had to be to the testing site at 10:15. The exam started. 10:15. So I wanted to get there like 30-40 minutes prior. So my plan was to leave home at 7 o'clock to get out to Raleigh by 9. And depending on traffic, it probably would took me to like 9:30, I was thinking. But either way, my plan was to get there early. So the night before, like I said, I went to bed early. I printed out the lesson plans that I needed. So like I was saying, I needed 2 different lesson plans. A lesson plan that is for lecturing, and then the other lesson plan was for the demonstration. So, and with those 2 lesson plans, I needed 3 copies of each lesson plan. So I needed a copy to have for myself and 2 copies to give to the examiners so that they can read along on the lesson plan with me as I was delivering my lecture. Anyway, I print out the lesson plans, and that morning when I got up to get the lesson plans off the printer, I realized that some of the ink started to, I started to run out of ink. So some of the lesson plans, the wording on the paper wasn't really legible. Like it was, like you could tell that the ink was running out. But what I noticed is I was able to put my glasses on and still read it, right? So now I'm like getting nervous. I'm like, oh my God, I gotta stop and at an Office Depot or Office Max out in Raleigh. I was thinking once I get to Raleigh, I'll have time. I can just go and go to like an Office Max or Office Depot and make copies. So I was like, okay, I ain't gonna worry about it. I'm not gonna worry about it. So I knew I had to go stop and get some gas and this and that, right? Anyway, I had a backup plan. I told myself, I said, you know what, I'm gonna call my cousin who lives in Durham and see if he's in Durham or not, because if he's there, then I could email the lesson plans to him and he could go to Office Depot or Office Max and, you know, print out the copies for me and meet me at the testing site so that I wouldn't have to do it. So I called him. It was early in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning. Called him and he was in New York. I said, oh my God, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? So he was like, well, call my son. So I called my little cousin. My little cousin happened to work in Raleigh and he was going to make the copies for me. But by this time, now, like I said, I left my house at 7 o'clock that morning thinking I was going to get to Raleigh at 9. But before I left out the house, I put the address in my maps to see how long it was going to take me. Do y'all know that this map, Google Maps, was telling me that it was going to take me 2 hours and 52 minutes? I had to be there at 10:15. I said, oh my God, I'm gonna fail this freaking test again. Yeah, I could not believe it. And I had to stop and get gas. Bro. Woo! I said, oh my God. I gotta get out of here. So I left out at 7 o'clock and I stopped at the gas station and got gas. By the time I left the house, stopped at the gas station to get gas and everything, it was like 7:11 or 7:15 before I got on the highway. So I'm like, you know what, Tisha, just go, just do what you gotta do, get on this highway. Y'all, when I tell y'all I was putting my pedal to the metal, I was speeding. Yeah, I was speeding. Not the entire way, but most of the way I was definitely speeding, because I was like, I cannot not make it to this testing site to take this test, because I have to pass this test. I got to take this test and I got to pass it today. So I'm in the car, and at one time the GPS, it changes your ETA because, you know, depending on what traffic and, you know, what the traffic is doing or whatever the case may be. So I was like, okay. At one time the GPS was saying I'm gonna get there at 10:05, then it was saying 9:59. Like, it was just like fluctuating back and forth, different saying different times or whatever. So while I was in the car, I was just thinking, I'm not gonna have enough time to go and get the lesson plans printed out from my little cousin, because I have to be at the testing site at 10:15. So while I was driving, y'all, I was rummaging through the lesson plans, making sure that I had them all in order and making sure that I had the copies that I was going to keep for myself, you know, the ones that wasn't so legible, to go inside the testing site with and everything. So I was just doing all of that, speeding, and all this at the same time. Yes, it was that serious. Anyway, I wound up getting to the testing site at, what time I got there? I think I got there at 10:05. I got there at 10:05, and there was an examiner standing outside waiting for the candidates that was going to be taking the exam to come in and whatever. So as soon as I got there, I'm like boogieing, trying to get everything out the car, whatever. So she was like, "Are you here for your instructor's state board exam?" I was like, "Yes." And I was like, "Let me just get stuff out of my car, whatever." And got stuff out of my car, went inside, and this is what happened next. Okay, so I am getting ready to check the website to see if I passed my test. Let's go here and see if I passed. I think I did. I really believe that I did. It says here, I'm gonna let y'all see it. So we're gonna get the results together. So I took my test on the 4th of October, and it says North Carolina results letters for the practical examinations held on these dates are now available. So I have to put my candidate ID number in. So that is, hold up now, 336928928 746. Oh, this is it. Oh my God. This is it. I'm trying to put the year in. Hold up now. This is the format they want. Oh, no dashes. Okay. And log in. Okay. All right. Okay. View my results. Okay. Okay. Step 1. Wait a minute. Instructions. Step 1. Click on print letter to view your results. Step 2. Let's see. I think I passed. Let's see. What's going on? So there you have it. I passed my state board exam on the second try. 8 years later, after I let it expire for more than 5 years. So the moral of the story is, girl, stop being a slacker and make sure you renew those licenses, Tish. I'm preaching to myself right now. I'm preaching to myself, and those of you that's out there, don't procrastinate on things that is of importance. If you have important licenses or certificates and things like that, baby, don't let those things expire. Get them renewed, especially if you have the money to do it. Sometimes, people are in financial hardships and they just can't seem to get things done like that. But if you got the money to take care of these type of things, take care of it. Don't be like me and let the shit expire, and then you got to go through all these different changes and stuff like that. It's not worth it. But anyway, I hope that you all enjoyed this video. I hope that you enjoyed this story time. Let me know in the comment section below if you want to hear more story times from me. I got a ton of stories to tell, things that has happened in my life with me, by myself, and with other people. Like, if you all want me to make more story time videos, I can definitely do that. But anyway, I'm going to thank you all for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, tap that notification bell next to it, comment, share, and thumbs up this video. So until next time, deuces. Bye, guys.
Oh, yeah. Wait, we don't have to start the